All right, YouTube, this Detroit's HPTV back with another video. I wasn't even going to make another video today until I seen Greg Foreman at the Black Conservative Perspective show this clip of Joy Reid on Piers Morgan. Joy Reid actually went on Piers Morgan and got hammered. She built her whole platform on she don't like the white man. And she went on a white man's show and thought he wasn't going to come for her. This is crazy. First of all, Joy Reid is African. She's not a black American. Or a black American woman would have known that he was going to come for her. A black American would have known. But these Africans, they come over here and they only black when it benefits them, and they try to exploit the black American experience and come up off our trauma, don't even know the nuances of what this culture is about. Why would she go on Piers Morgan when she built her whole platform on anti-white man? Now, this video, they probably ain't gonna monetize it. I don't even care. Consider this a freebie. You got to see this. You got to see this. She actually went on Piers Morgan after she was fired for Trump derangement on MSNBC. This lady is crazy. It's crazy that she even went there and thought she wasn't going to get embarrassed. So I know a lot of y'all that's done drunk the Democratic Kool-Aid. Y'all might not like this. Y'all probably gonna subscribe. I don't even care. I don't care if they don't monetize this video or nothing. You got to see this. You got to see it. You got to see Joy Reid actually go on Piers Morgan after she was fired and came to YouTube. YouTube is not for these mainstream liberal media people that get fired and then come to YouTube. YouTube is gutter. It's grimy. It's every man for himself. So you got to be built for it. So without further ado, let me get into this clip. This is for fair use under the 1976 Copyright Act. Shout out to Greg Foreman, who broke this first. But check this out.
Is that what your show has come to, Piers? Churning up old news in an effort to make yourself relevant?
Hold on. Check this out. This is Joy Reid. This is Joy Reid. The I can't stand white men. Go on a white man's show. This African lady is crazy. Then she trying to act like she's black. She's not black. She's African. She's not one of us. But she's a woman. So I don't want to come off misogynist. But you got to see this. Look at it.
Is that what your show has come to, Piers? Churning up old news in an effort to make yourself relevant? Apparently, Piers just cannot bring himself to break from his old apprentice pal, Donald, even now, in the Epstein times. So he decided to pivot to a familiar right-wing target, me. The interview, which drops tomorrow, was a cheap, sleazy, very Piers Morgan pivot to take the heat off of the right and Trump and put it right where the right needs it to be, on the black lady. Because here's the thing about Piers.
First of all, the African lady. Let's start there. This is the African lady. This is the culture vulture. This is the person that comes from Africa and think that she represents black people, and she likes to spew her racism for profit and exploit the black experience in America and get money off our trauma. This is her. This ain't no black lady. This African lady. Let's keep it real.
For someone who claims to not care at all about race, he spends a lot of time talking about black people, black presidents, black ex-cable hosts, black princesses. He seems obsessed, which is how Piers got himself fired from his job on Good Morning Britain over his relentless...
Ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? Because she got fired from MSNBC for her Trump derangement. Let's continue.
Endless, obsessive hatred of Meghan Markle. who for some reason terribly triggers Piers, who allegedly had a 2016 luncheon with her after they developed a friendship online, but then she ghosted him around the time that she
mud slinging like a jilted baby mama.
started dating Prince Harry. And now he seems to hate that she's a princess, and not a quiet one, but rather one who talks openly about the racism that she has faced since becoming a royal. So, Piers, I did not get fired from MSNBC over ratings, but I would sure rather it be that than being separated from my show after a massive petition and viewers looked at me as a racist.
Track business mileage with the QuickBooks mobile app and automatically track your creep.
Boy. So we got to talk about this epic interview between Piers Morgan and Joy Reid, in which Joy Reid...
If you know, you know. This is really epic. This is really epic. The nerve of her to go on Piers Morgan after her commentary. Man, you can't make this up.
Is going to have a meltdown for the ages because she's going to be confronted on the Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff things that she said for years on MSNBC before being fired. Now, Piers Morgan is going to confront Joy Reid on being fired and her claims that she was fired because she's black, right? Instead of the truth which is that she was fired because her ratings, at least for a vast majority of last year, were bad, right? She was not doing well compared to her peers. Now, Joy Reid, instead of accepting that reality and saying, yeah, my performance wasn't good, she decided to boo-hoo on and cry racism. And she's not going to like the fact that Piers confronts her on that. And, of course, she's going to cry racism over Piers confronting her, right? So we got to react to this.
This is when that victim mentality goes wrong. Watch. This is when that victim mentality goes wrong.
Further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's move on. I want to move on because I don't want to spend the whole time talking about this.
Person that behaves the way he does, trying to take people's citizenship away, denaturalizing. That's Idi Amin behavior. There's a black fascist that you can compare it to.
Idi Amin was an African fascist. Let's start there.
Let's move on to, I want to just play a clip of when you lost your job at MSNBC. Let's watch this.
My show had value, and that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I try not to cry on TV. And I think whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object,
Me as a black American, I'm not crying and getting upset about what's going on in Gaza. Them Palestinians don't give a damn about what's going on in Detroit.
Little babies being bombed, and I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And you know, I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
Now, look, you're perfectly entitled to be proud of your show. Many people enjoyed your show for many years. You know, a lot of people at NBC were briefing that the reason was declining ratings post the election, 47% decrease in your election, in ratings from pre-election. But you told Mark Lamont.
Now, her ratings went down 47%. 47%. Would you employ somebody and pay $1 million for them and their ratings go down 47%? Almost half of the people just sign off.
Hill on his show this.
After I said on my show that the reason...
Let me say this. Mark Lamont Hill got on a shirt that say that feminism is finna rule the world. This is a man that got a shirt on to say feminism is finna rule the world. So you know where this is going.
Americans could relate to Ukrainians in a way that they didn't relate to Palestinians, that Ukrainians are white. And so watching white people get their schools bombed was, you know, hit different. That hit our ratings. I mean, we could see the loss of white viewers from that moment that I said that. So they were like, we don't like the name calling. And also I'm a black woman. So, I mean, I'm sure it makes him angrier, you know, when I say things. Maybe because I am a...
No, you're not a black woman. You're an African woman. You look down on regular black women. You think you're smarter than them. Let's stop playing that game. Let's stop playing that game.
Global South person myself, you know, I mean, as a black person, we have a different empathy toward other Global South people when they are suffering. And so we're going to come at that story from a different angle and in a different way and with different kinds of empathies. And I think that's not always received very well in the news business.
Yeah. So before we get into this, I just want you guys to understand how Joy Reid is trying to have her cake and eat it too, right? She's trying to claim that, well, I wasn't fired because of ratings. I was fired because of racism. But yet she admits when discussing why she was fired that she lost a lot of white viewership, right? Because of the unhinged things that she was saying. Now, I've said this before and I'll continue to say it again. What these race hustlers don't realize, especially when you talk about news and media, that the majority of the American public, they are white, okay? And because of that, anti-white commentary is not something that is going to pull in a lot of viewers. You may pull in whites that don't like themselves, right? White progressives that hate other whites. You might pull them in. You might pull in some minorities who also hate whites and love anti-white commentary. But for the most part, it's not marketable to the general public, right? It's extreme. And that is the territory that Joy Reid got into. So it's just funny to me to hear her acknowledge that she lost white viewership while at the same time claiming that, well, no, I wasn't fired because of my ratings. I was fired because of racism, which I guess in her eyes kind of makes sense because her losing white viewership is because of racism, not because of the racism that she was spewing, but because the white viewers are racist because they don't want to hear her theorize about why people care about Ukraine over Palestine having to do with race, when, I mean, the reality is the main people who don't care about Palestine that much also don't care about Ukraine that much. And it really doesn't have that much to do with race, okay? As much as it has to do with the fact that those people, just generally speaking, just don't really want U.S. involvement in any of these conflicts, right? And it has more to do with that than it does with race. But, you know, I don't know if Joy Reid is intelligent enough to understand.
By common consensus, Dred Scott v. Sanford is the most infamous decision in
that.
No, Joy, I mean, look, let's be honest. I don't think you were fired after all those years because of your skin colour or because you're a black woman. I think you were fired because your show just got increasingly unpopular. It happens all the time in TV. That's why you got let go. Why play the race card?
First of all, I love the fact that your play the race card is your version of the race card. You literally are so fixated on trying to racialize conversations with me, Piers. I find it actually quite charming.
You racialize more conversations in your tenure at MSNBC than any host in history.
All right, Mark. All right, Piers. And the bottom line is you take an entire conversation that I had with Mark Lamont Hill and pick the bits that you can racialize because this is your shtick. And I get that this is your shtick.
You racialize everything, Joy. Come on.
I get it. I understand this is your shtick, Piers. And listen, game recognized game. I get this is
it's
your
not
game.
my shtick.
The bottom line,
it was your
shtick. It is your shtick. And
He laughing at her. She came on his show after she race hustled, all while she was on MSNBC. Sorry, I'm sweating because it's hot out here. But he laughing at her. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. Why did she go on that show? How much did he pay her to embarrass herself? If she'll sell herself out, you know she'll sell anybody out. Ain't no way I'd have went on his show.
It was your stick.
Piers, we understand
what
it is. And it is so interesting to me that you yourself, as a white European, find that when people of color talk about race, that you...
Look at Greg Foreman laughing in the background. I had to come out here in the heat and make this video because y'all got to see this. This is terrible. This race hustler, this race baiter, went on this man's show and thought that it was going to be a nice interview.
Believe is racializing conversations. But when people like you fixate on, well, Barack Obama was a black president, why don't you object to that? That is racializing a conversation about the former president of the United States. But you can't put your, and I'm sure you find that charming and funny.
I find it hilarious because you're...
He's laughing at her. He paid her to come on here. This video is going to go viral. This is the most embarrassing thing that an African woman, I ain't going to call her black, She actually took the money and went on that show thinking that she was going to be able to talk crazy to him.
You're the one who said Donald Trump.
You and your friend Donald Trump.
You said Donald Trump is a white fascist.
Are so. He is a well. I agree with Mark
Obama did the same thing.
Last time I checked, is
I'm not allowed
black.
to mention his skin color.
I agree with his former chief of staff, who last I checked was not black and said he's fascist, and Mark Milley said he's fascist to the core. Okay. So I happen to agree, and I know this is what it's important to you, with two very white gentlemen about Donald Trump's fascist tendencies.
Okay.
If that makes you sad and uncomfortable, I can't help you.
No, it doesn't make me sad and uncomfortable. I think it makes you.
Yeah. So this is hilarious. So Joy Reid has a problem with Piers Morgan confronting her on being a race baiter, right? On racializing every conversation. And she thinks that this is out of bounds because apparently, according to her, Piers Morgan is actually the one that's racializing things by confronting her for being a race baiter, right? AKA, you are racist, okay, for confronting Joy Reid on her racist commentary, right? You can't confront a black lady on her racist commentary, or I meant an African lady.
Yeah.
You can't confront Joy Reid on that, right? Again, this is extremely fascinating. She's triggered by the fact that she's finally being confronted on some of her unhinged commentary, and in response, she continues to double down on exactly what she's being criticized for, which is basically using race as the basis of all of her analysis. As she just pointed out, Piers Morgan being a white man and calling her out being an issue, right? When it's like, just because he's white, that doesn't have anything to do with why he is confronting you on being a race baiter. He's confronting you on being a race baiter because that is what you do, right? That is a vast majority of your commentary is race, right? And you analyze events through the lenses of race, even events that...
She must have been hard up for money to take that money to go on this man's show.
Clearly don't have anything to do with race. So with that being said, I want to fast forward to the part of the interview where she continues to double down on this idea that she's been attacked because she's black, and her attackers being white men, right? Are evidence that, again, this is some type of racial ambush, because this is hilarious. Because Piers Morgan is going to bring in Michael Knowles, and let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's just end with this. Not everyone was upset when you were fired. Plenty of those white conservative men that you like so much seem quite happy. Let's just take a look at this clip.
Joy Reid, probably the nastiest figure on MSNBC. The most left, the most vicious against conservatives and white people and men and all the rest. She has just been canned, fired, kicked to the side of the road. Her show is over. This saddens me a little bit because I did not yet have the opportunity to go on it. I am celebrating that there is no longer a market for her disgusting product. That's what I'm genuinely happy about. There has been a major shift. Her show and shows like her show no longer have value. And that's not just because of Joy Reid's favorite villains. You know, the evil white man or the Christians or the conservatives. It's because, like, no one watches her show.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a market for it, right? And that's my whole point. I keep trying to tell these people that there's not a large market for anti-white commentary, right? At least not in the mainstream.
Jackpot's here. Could get you to a live show right here. BetMGM. Download and play today.
Okay, there may be a market for it in, some rabbit hole on the internet, right? Certainly there's a market for it there. But in regards to mainstream commentary, it's not that much of a market for it. Then this is why MSNBC, even they're getting away from it. This is why they got rid of Tiffany Cross. Joy Reid came after that. This is why they're getting rid of a lot of their so-called hosts of color, because they know that the vast majority of their viewers are white, okay? And it's probably not a good idea to market to them with these overt racists.
So, Joy, I've actually got Michael Knowles waiting in the wings.
Great.
Is there anything you'd like to say to him?
No.
What did you make of his critique of your show?
Well, I mean, the reality is that obviously people watched the show, and obviously that's the reason that the show was on for 4.5, nearly 5 years. So if he didn't like the show, I guess, sorry you didn't enjoy it, but I really am not that interested in his views on it.
Okay, well, we got Michael there. Michael, anything you want to say to Joy?
Yes, wonderful to be here, Joy. Very nice to meet you. And I guess I would agree with Joy's take. People watch.
And they got the other sister, I can't think of her name. She be race hustling and race baiting too. They got her sitting in the wings. She just shaking her head. She ain't even gonna stand up and defend Joy. She know they walked into an ambush. What's wrong with these ladies? They go on the show for the money, because you know Piers paid them to get demolished. Really? How intelligent. These are the people that y'all listen to?
The show in the past tense, and now there's no longer a market for that absolutely vile content, and I think that's good for the culture broadly. And now we can all chat on Pierce's show.
Joy?
The reality is, Michael, the content that you and Piers like to trade in is grievance. And the grievance that white Americans have, that they have to deal with
I'm not American.
Diversity, that they have to deal with.
Joy, this isn't a grievance.
I'm British.
Love
I'm
America.
celebrating.
And by the way, white grievance is very good for your bottom lines. It's very good for your bank accounts. And so having me here to be able to continue to traffic in that is your
Wait a minute. She came on that show. He paid her to come on that show. And she went, knowing her views. These people are not serious people. They're not authentic or genuine. She should have turned that money down. Because look.
That is what you do. That's what you do, Piers. And so it's great. And I'm sure you find it delightful and fun to say it. But the reality is, Piers, that is what you all traffic in.
I have to correct you.
Well, first of all, I'm not a white American. I think if my accent may...
Look at the sister in the corner. Look at her. They paid her to be there too. She ain't gonna say nothing. Watch.
Well, I know that you're European.
And I'm British. My only grievances are
secondly,
I mean, listen, here's the thing. Joy Reid is making an argument that, Michael Knowles and Piers Morgan, they traffic in anti-white grievance. Now, if that is true, then I think you could also say that Joy Reid traffics in anti-white grievance, right? I think that that is probably a true statement if Joy Reid really wants to go there, right? What type of grievance does Joy Reid traffic in? Well, the fact that she doesn't like whites. Okay, so again, it's just funny how she's basically the pot calling the kettle black at this point.
I don't think anyone, Michael, I will let you respond, but I don't think any host in the history of cable news has waged more grievance than Joy Reid.
Facts.
So the idea that you're now hectoring us about feeling aggrieved about things, you spent years being aggrieved about absolutely everything.
Excuse me, but your favorite president, the president who you completely support, is nothing but
My
grievance.
favorite president was Abraham Lincoln.
Was grievance. His entire campaign was grievance. Well, your former boss on the
I'm not
Apprentice,
Donald
or whatever
Trump.
you want to call him, your friend. The bottom line is that Donald Trump's entire campaign was about grievance. It was about white America feeling they'd lost their country and they need to take it back. It was about white America feeling that diversity was a threat to their children being able to go to Harvard. Their
And you know what, Joy? In the end,
diversity was
and
that is the reason
and in the
that
end,
you all glom onto him
and in the end,
use him to further your own
actually, in
agenda.
the end, most Americans, as you know, most Americans, having voted for him in 2016, and after Trump spent 4 years in the wilderness, and we watched the Democrats run the United States of America, people took a look at that in America, and then they voted for Trump second time round in bigger numbers, including a record number of Latinos, who last time I checked were not white. Anyway, Joy Reid, I'm going to leave it with you. Thank you for coming on Uncensored.
Wow. Yeah, that was great. That was great. So the video that you guys saw at the beginning of this video was Joy Reid, boo-hoo-whining and crying, upset over what she felt was an ambush, right, from Piers Morgan. And, it's just, pretty hilarious to watch Joy Reid get confronted on some of her unhinged commentary. But she has an opportunity to prove herself, right? She has an opportunity to prove that it wasn't about ratings, right? Because she has her own show on YouTube, okay? She has her own podcast. And on her podcast, I wouldn't say that she's doing very well. I mean, if you look at some of the viewership that she's getting here, she has 223,000 subs. A lot of those subs probably come from the fact that she has a name, right? She was in cable news. But if you look at the viewership in regards to people tuning in, not really doing that well. Okay, you talking about 2.4K views in a couple of hours, 12K in a day. I mean, not good. Okay, on the video. I mean, you know, she got one video that she pulled in 100,000, maybe a couple, but not off to a great start, right? Not off to a great start. It's the same pattern you see all the time with these people, okay? When they do not have a multi-billion-dollar media conglomerate behind them, all of a sudden it's really hard for them to get an audience, right? Because, again, there's not a large market for that type of unhinged commentary, which is why I'm not surprised that MSNBC let Joy Reid go, and they definitely let her go because of ratings. They didn't let her go because she's black or because of racism. They let her go because people stopped watching her. And if Joy Reid thinks that it's racist that white people don't want to watch her talk about how much she hates them, then that's on her, right? But again, we will see. She is going to be able to either sink or swim on her own here, and right now it looks like she's sinking. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly,
I had to show y'all that. And I know if you know, you know. You know what I mean? If you've been following me or you really follow politics, you have to understand who Joy Reid is. You know what I mean? And how she built her career. And for her to take the money and go on Piers Morgan and think she could play the black woman card, that's played out. That's played out. You see Kamala Harris, even Jasmine Crockett. People is tired of that big mouth just saying whatever you want to say, and it's okay. Now it's consequences. So now she on YouTube with the rest of us. She got to get it how she live. And this is Detroit HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Like, share, and subscribe. As always, salute to all patriots. And y'all better keep your head on a swivel. It's getting thick out here. Peace.